Good afternoon. Today is March 20th. Welcome to the bill hearings of the Ways and Means Committee. Well, those of you that are here, you know that our Alistair and his wife are expecting. Oh, you might not have known. So yay. And so she is due momentarily April 5th. So we have, tell me your name again.
Shane Brittner.
Shane Brittner, oh, you might already know him. So Shane is going to be working with us in case Alistair has to dip out. So welcome, Shane. All right, Senate Bill 444, Senator Zucker. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, Madam Vice Chair, distinguished members of the Ways and Means Committee. Special hello to Delegate Bernice Maricu North. Madam Chair, colleagues, Senate Bill 444 is a direct cross file and conforms to House Bill 634 that's already passed this committee. Kudos to Delegate Stephanie Smith on that, and I would be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Okay, seeing none. Thank you very much. That concludes the hearing on Senate Bill 444. Senator Rosapeth, Senate Bill 33.
Thank you. This bill is one that you've seen before, and it did not come out of this chamber the last time, and I'm hoping this year it will. It's part of the overall effort that the legislature and the administration are making to trying to improve opportunities for folks to pursue careers coming out of high school. And as you know, with the blueprint, we put a great emphasis on college and career ready. And so what this bill does is a few steps in that direction. One says that if school systems pay for fees for kids to take tests like the SATs to apply to college, they should also be paying the fees for kids who apply for apprenticeships or industry recognized certifications to try to put them on a level playing field, whether you're going career or you're going college. Secondly, it says that school systems, when they provide visibility for colleges, and some high schools do and some don't, but those that do, including some of my district, are very aggressive about school pennants and things like that, showing different college options, which is great. This says they need to do the same thing for apprenticeship sponsors and employers, so that kids get a sense visually that the school is putting equal emphasis on college and career ready. And then third, it says that school systems, which is almost all the school systems in the state, which use a program called Naviance, which is a basically future exploration program for kids, where they input a lot of information about themselves, their interests, their aptitudes, and they get information back. Like the college boards, Naviance sells that information to colleges, so colleges can market to the kids. So that's how kids get so much marketing from colleges. This would say that that platform that school systems have should be opened up again to apprenticeship sponsors and employers, so they have the information to be able to bring to the attention of kids what are the job opportunities in the area. That's the bill.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay, seeing none. Thank you very much,
Thanks a lot.
Senator. That concludes the hearing on Senate Bill 33. Senator Augustine, Senate Bill 122. Welcome, Senator.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Madam Vice Chair, members of the committee. Senator Malcolm Augustine here on behalf of Senate Bill 122, which is an identical cross file of House Bill 284 by Delegate Polakovich Carr. And I ask for a favorable report.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay, seeing none. Thank you very much. That
Thank you.
concludes the hearing on Senate Bill 122. I'm going to jump ahead. Senator Hedelman, Senate Bill 425.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, Madam Vice Chair, members of the committee. My name is Shelley Hedelman, Senator from District 11, and I'm here to present Senate Bill 425, which gives flexibility to local boards of education to provide Maryland Meals for Achievement, some flexibility to allow elementary school kids to get school breakfast in the same way that middle school and high school kids do. And it's a direct cross file of Delegate Feldmark's bill that you passed as well.
Okay, any questions? Okay, seeing none. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That concludes the hearing on Senate Bill 425. Senator King, Senate Bill 434.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good afternoon, committee. I'm Senator Nancy King from District 39. I thought I'd see my delegate here and he's gone. As of fiscal year 2022, there were over 3.5 million registered library patrons in Maryland. Those patrons visited libraries across the state over 3.5 million times and borrowed over 47 million items. State Library Resource Center, SLRC, is the state library for Maryland and supports our libraries across the state by providing cooperative, cost-effective resources and services for our libraries and their customers. SLRC is funded at a per state resident rate, and in the current fiscal year, SLRC is being funded at a rate of $1.97 per state resident. Senate Bill 434 is introduced would gradually increase funding over the next 6 fiscal years. But given concerns over the structural deficit, the Senate Budget and Taxation Committee amended the bill to add increases for only the next 3 fiscal years. The rate will increase to $2.07 per state resident in FY 2025, $2.15 in 26, and $2.24 in FY 27, and each fiscal year thereafter. The Budget and Taxation Committee did add $775,800 to the FY 2025 budget to cover the increase. This legislation will allow our state library to continue to offer the services that are so important to our libraries and our residents of all ages, and I ask for a favorable report.
Thank you. For 2 minutes, please.
Good afternoon, Chair Atterbury and members of the committee. I'm Liz Sunderman-Zinger. I'm the chief of the State Library Resource Center. I'd like to thank you, Chair Atterbury, members of the committee, and Senator King for all of the work you've already done for libraries in Maryland this session. Thank you. As Senator King was saying, this bill will allow the State Library Resource Center to continue to provide essential statewide services such as interlibrary loan, K-12 educational databases, high-speed internet access to public libraries in some municipalities, essential training for library staff, and access to the millions of books in our collection and the experienced and helpful subject experts who work to help all Marylanders with their information access needs. It is critical to pass this bill so that we do not need to cut staff or services. I've talked with some of you individually or in meetings, and I know that you understand the importance of what we do. Please pass this bill as a companion bill with the revisions passed in the Senate that have funded us for fiscal year 25 through fiscal year 27. We want to keep working for you and your constituents. Thank you all for your continued support.
Thank you. Any questions from the committee? Okay, seeing none, thank you. That concludes the hearing on Senate Bill 434.
Thank you.
And Senator King, I think Delegate Wins is across the street somewhere testifying.
Thank you.
Senator Hester, Senate Bill 180.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the committee. For the record, Senator Katie Fry Hester, representing District 9, here to ask for your favorable consideration of Senate Bill 180. This bill will expand the law to allow nurses to administer bronchodilators or albuterol in schools. The bill will enable public schools to stock bronchodilators for emergency purposes and require training for identifying the signs of respiratory distress and administering bronchodilators, and remove the personal liability of nurses and other school personnel. Your committee has heard a very similar bill, my cross-file Vice Chair Boyce's House Bill 86. However, and both bills have passed their respective chambers unanimously, and they both address the Maryland Department of Health's concerns with the training requirements and eligible school personnel definition. However, there are slight differences in the two bills as amended, and we are happy to conform our bill to match the House version with a couple of exceptions. The EEE Committee Council recommends that we amend the bill to restore the inclusion of key stakeholders, including the American Lung Association and the Asthma and Allergy Foundation of America, that we remove the requirement for schools to store bronchodilators and replace it with an authorization so that we don't create an unfunded mandate, and that we remove the provision that authorizes county boards to obtain a standing order for the administration of bronchodilators. Once again, both HB and 86 and SB 180 passed their respective chambers unanimously, and I leave it in the hands of this wonderful committee to figure out the rest. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Senator. And you have Elaine Papp. Is Elaine Papp here They have two virtual.
The panelists are both virtual.
Okay, Alex Casper and Sarah Sandriamelli. So Ms. Casper, go ahead for 2 minutes, please.
Thank you, Chair Atterbury, members of the committee. My name is Alex Casper. I'm the Director of Advocacy for the American Lung Association. Submitted our written comments, so I'll be brief here in strong support of Senate Bill 180. Appreciate Senator Hester's advocacy on this issue and working both with us as stakeholders, MDH, to address all the concerns while keeping the integrity of the bill and broad respiratory distress. We at the American Lung Association are experts in lung health, and we have access to lots of experts, both at the local level and at the national level, on both pediatric asthma as well as implementation of stock albuterol or stock inhalers in schools. We'd be happy to lend those that expertise when Maryland begins to create their protocols and implementation. We thank the committee for their work on the House version and would encourage the bill to be further amended to reflect Senator Hester's points as presented. Thank you again for your continued support and commitment. We ask for a favorable report.
Thank you. Ms. Sandra Melli, please, for 2 minutes. Or doctor, I apologize.
That's okay. Hi, I'm Dr. Christy Sadrimelli. I'm a pediatric pulmonologist at Johns Hopkins and chair of the National Pediatric Advocacy Committee for the American Thoracic Society, who supports the bill in its current form. I'm also a co-author on the National Stock Albuterol Policy Guidelines and Consensus Statement that were published in 2021. I thank this committee for the support and the interest in legislation to create a stock bronchodilator program, commonly called albuterol inhaler, for schools, and for the work you've done this year and in past years. This year to pass the partner bill HB 86. I do support SB 180 in its current form. The amendments that were incorporated into the current version of the bill reflect the input of the Maryland Department of Health and the group of advocates who supported the bill, including myself. The bill's in line with similar laws around the country and with national guidelines. And most importantly, neither SB 180 nor HB 86 would restrict the use of albuterol to children with a documented diagnosis of asthma. So in other words, the school can administer albuterol to a student who seems to need it based on symptoms without making the student prove that they have asthma, which is great. This is a really important part of the bill. It helps the law be useful to schools, help students, and doesn't create or exacerbate inequities. SB 180 also contains language for key stakeholders, as you've just heard, to be involved in development of training. I would be happy to support the bill this way or in any other way that would help on the implementation phase once the law has been passed. Thank you for your work on this issue. Again, Maryland should be proud to pass a strong law and join the growing number of states with similar laws. I recommend a favorable report for SB 180 and happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the committee? Okay, seeing none. Thank you. Thank you, Senator Hester. That concludes the hearing on Senate Bill 180. Circling back up to Senate Bill 280. Ms. Padilla, please. Senate Bill 248. I apologize. 248 and then 250. I'm confusing everybody.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Chairperson Atterbury, members of the committee. I'm Irene Padilla, Maryland State Librarian, and I'm glad to be here today to testify in favor of Senate Bill 248. This bill will expand public representation on the Regional Resource Center boards from 1 member to 2 members, thereby increasing the opportunity for diversity and allowing more flexibility in recruitment. This bill is the direct counterpart to HB 25 and 825, excuse me, and you've already supported that bill. So I would appreciate your support.
Okay, are there any questions? Okay, that concludes the hearing on Senate Bill 248, Senate Bill 250.
Okay. Again, glad to be here to talk about Senate Bill 250. This bill, we originally filed this to make sure that it was clear that we could not, libraries were not able to charge fines for minors. Since that time, we worked closely with the Early Childhood Committee on HB 208, which is its counterpart. And there were amendments that were recommended in that work and pass through the House committee, we would support these amendments, primarily that public libraries would now make juvenile and young adult materials fine-free for everyone, every card holder, in addition to materials borrowed on a juvenile or young adult card. And the public libraries would refund the replacement fee within 6 months of its payment. So we are very pleased with supporting that. I don't know where that stands as far as the Senate bill itself, but just so you know, we're in favor of it.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions? Okay, seeing none, thank you very much.
Thank you.
That concludes the hearing on Senate Bill 250. Is someone here from Senator Washington, Mary Washington's office coming up? Oh, I didn't see you. There you are. Senate Bill 500, Senator Washington. I have to say Mary Washington because.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Oh, you mean that other senator? I'm the OG Washington. Thank you all very much. I always enjoy testifying in front of Ways and Means because I served on this committee. For the record, Chair Atterbury and Vice Chair Wilkins and my esteemed colleagues on this committee, for the record, Senator Mary Washington, and I respectfully ask for your favorable report on Senate Bill 500, childcare and professional development. This bill has no opposition. Delegate Carr has cross-file. You've heard that bill was heard in this committee, so I'll keep it brief. Just as a reminder that the Child Care Career and Professional Development Fund is a tuition assistant fund for child care providers to obtain a college education. The bill revises the program to prioritize funding for a number of people. One, individuals who have not yet completed any college courses. Two, individuals who attended or have been accepted into a college that offers native language or bilingual coursework. And then three, the bill also increases the hours applicants must work. At the moment, as you might recall, that you can get the support and the stipend and only do 10 hours of work. Both our partners as well as the agency believe that the work obligation should be more, so it's increasing it from 10 to 20. And then the bill also provides a provision requiring the award recipient to repay any funds if they do not meet the program obligations. And again, I ask for your favorable report. I appreciate your kind attention and I'm ready to answer any questions you might have.
Okay, any questions? Okay, thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
That concludes the hearing on Senate Bill 500. Delegate Fair, House Bill 1479 is a local bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Madam Vice Chair, esteemed members of the Ways and Means Committee. For the record, I am Delegate Chris Fair, presenting House Bill 1479 on behalf of the Frederick County delegation. This bill, seeking to reduce student truancy, was voted favorable on a unanimous vote by the Frederick County delegation. House Bill 1479 authorizes the Circuit Administrative Judge of the Sixth Circuit to establish a truancy reduction pilot program in Frederick County's juvenile court. Just for sake of everybody understanding, because I didn't know this going in, truancy, absenteeism, that's all we're talking about, trying to reduce the amount of student absenteeism. Frederick will join 8 other counties in Maryland for this non-punitive intervention for students referred to by the Frederick County Public School System. I believe that each of us wishes to address the challenges of chronic student absenteeism, and this program attempts to do just that. HB 1479 links chronic absenteeism to broader social, emotional, and economic challenges. It enables a customized partnership approach with parents, the school system, community supports, and the courts to provide a supportive and rehabilitative intervention. I want to thank Judge Joni Raymond Brubaker and the Frederick County Circuit Court, Lynn Davis at the Frederick County Public Schools, and dozens of others for founding this program and operating it voluntarily for the last 5 years. Opening this program to the ability to apply for grants will inherently increase its efficacy and support a greater number of students more holistically. The bill operates within the existing state budget for truancy reduction programs and a grant application process, offering a beacon of hope for students, families, and the educational community in Frederick County. It supports the state's ongoing efforts to reduce absenteeism rates and improve academic achievement. Countless studies have shown student absenteeism leads to higher dropout rates, greater substance abuse risk, lowered opportunities for upward mobility, and decreased academic opportunity. HB 1479 leverages a partnership between parents, students, and the local school system safely through the judiciary. I request the committee's support for HB 1479, and I will note that it's cross-file Senate Bill 1039 passed unanimously in the Senate already. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Was this, why are we just hearing this one?
Because it was, I blame my senator. No, it actually, the Senate bill was originally drafted when we approved it and we had to get it, but we asked the drafters to draft the House version too late, so it ended up in rules, and that's the only reason it's been so delayed.
Okay. Delegate Ebersol has a question.
Yeah, this is curious, and I might be putting you on the spot, but you said there's 7 counties. Is there any reason every county wouldn't do this? Is there something about the structure of other counties that doesn't let them do it? Do you have any idea?
No, actually, the program is open, and I believe that the House has actually taken up this as a statewide issue before and voted affirmatively on the House side. I think that sometimes just our friends across the street prefer local courtesy over a statewide effort.
Looking at bill ideas for next year. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much, Delegate Fair.
Thank you.
That concludes the hearing on House Bill 1479. Delegate Rogers, House Bill 1492, and you want to bring your panel up?
All right, Chair Atterbury, Vice Chair Wilkins, and the members of the mighty Ways and Means Committee. I try. For the record, I am Delegate Mike Rogers, representing Legislative District 32, and I am here to respectfully request a favorable report of House Bill 1492. Rather than rely on an opt-in for sharing Armed Services Vocational Aptitude Battery Scores, or ASVAB, this bill would require each public school that administers the ASVAB to notify students and their parents or guardians 2 weeks before administering the test of the option to opt out of the release of a student's personal information and test scores to military recruiters. This will help address a critical recruitment issue for our Maryland National Guard. By allowing military recruiters access to ASVAB scores, we can better assist young individuals in identifying suitable career paths, including opportunities within the Maryland National Guard. Each public school that administers the ASVAB must do 2 things. 1, send a written notice to the ASVAB representative coordinating the school's administration of the ASVAB of this requirement. And 2, notify students taking the ASVAB and the parent or guardian of students taking the ASVAB of the release of student information requirements. A student or their parent or guardian may choose to release the student's personal information and ASVAB scores by individually submitting the required forms to the military services, authorizing the release of the information to the specified approved entities. Because the onus is currently on busy students and parents to proactively share their scores, military recruiters miss out on identifying the eligible potential service members, and students miss out on all of the opportunities that serving provides. This approach strikes a balance between parents' desires and ensuring that our youth have access to valuable career information and opportunities. Maryland is the only state in our region which has this limitation on communication from National Guard recruiters. We are asking to allow our National Guard recruiters to function on the same standards as our surrounding states. By providing informed consent and access to career information, we can ensure the Maryland remains always ready, always there to support our local community at home and protect our nation around the world. So I respectfully request a favorable report on House Bill 1492, and I would add that the Senate cross-file Senate Bill 1042 has cleared the Senate.
Mighty, mighty, mighty Ways and Means Committee. And the mighty Chair and Vice Chair. So glad to be with you. I'm Major General Janine Burkhead, here to advocate for a favorable report for House Bill 1492, which addresses a critical issue regarding the release of student ASVAB, Armed Service Vocational Aptitude Battery Scores in our state. The ASVAB Career Exploration Program is a valuable resource
that offers students insight into various occupational fields and helps predict their future academic and occupational successes. By allowing military recruiters access to the scores, we can better assist young individuals in identifying suitable career paths, including opportunities in the Maryland National Guard. Currently, Maryland law prohibits public schools from sharing ASVAB scores with military recruiters without explicit parental consent. HB 1492 proposes a reasonable solution by replacing a current prohibition with a requirement for parental notification, allowing parents a 2-week window to choose whether or not to release ASVAB scores to any entity. Repealing this portion of Maryland law would not only uphold the rights of students, but also empower them with informed consent and essential career information. Each year, approximately 5,000 Maryland students voluntarily take the ASVAB test, demonstrating their interest in exploring different career paths and opportunities. This approach strikes a balance between parents' desires and ensuring our youth, especially our underserved populations, have access to valuable career information and opportunities. Furthermore, repealing this portion of Maryland law would incur no additional costs or administrative burdens for any entity involved. It simply grants students the autonomy to decide how and when they share their information regarding their career aspirations. I urge you to give favorable report to HB 1492 to benefit our youth and the Maryland National Guard and our state. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and thank you for being here today. I just have a couple of quick questions. It's really to make sure I understand. So either one of you can answer. So right now, I think you said the test is voluntary. And so what you're proposing is that parents be notified of their child's score, and then they have 2 weeks to say that the information can be released to the appropriate parties.
That's correct.
So right now, the parents have to, how does it work now?
The parent has to say, yes, that you can release the scores to the.
Without notification.
Without notification. And actually there's A through G as options. There are many options, but the parent has to affirmatively make a choice.
Okay,
Mhm.
thank you. We have
Yes,
a couple quick questions. Madam Vice Chair.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you so much to our Major General. I do want to welcome the Major General to our committee, our top military leader in the state. It's wonderful to see you, and thank you for helping to bring this bill. I just had a quick question. I understand that this bill has passed in the Senate.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes.
Delegate Ebersol.
Nice to see you again. I know that you presented at Baltimore County delegation because we're a little worried about Martin Airport these days, and thank you. So let's just be clear. Option 8 is the one where nothing gets shared, right? Is that why I see it referred to in the bill? So that's option 8. Now, right now, if we right now under the current conditions, when somebody takes the ASVAB, the information is not automatically shared, right?
Correct.
Okay, so this would be, then default would be to share it, and someone would have to be cognizant of that possibility, and you would have notified, you're saying, and they would have to then choose option 8 not to share the information.
That's correct.
Okay, does ASVAB cost local school systems anything to administer?
Doesn't cost them anything.
I knew it.
It doesn't
I
cost them
taught, we
anything.
did the ASVAB for many
Yes,
years, and so,
yes.
yeah, I just wanted to be sure that that was clear, that
Yes.
this was done. Name 3 vocations that the ASVAB might recommend for somebody, just as an example.
That they might recommend.
Yeah, like
Oh,
after you take the test, because it used to be that we just kind of gave it to students and said, hey, this is what you look like you're good at, and that was kind of the end of it because it wasn't automatically reported out.
Yes. Aircraft maintenance.
Speaking of which,
Yes,
right.
aircraft maintenance.
That's good.
Yes,
Thank
yes, aviation,
Military intelligence.
military intelligence, cyber.
Quartermaster, cyber.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, and
Oh,
just to add, if you allow me, in the career recruiter in the school, the counselor can use this test for their own purposes to guide the student. It's not just a military, and it's not just for the National Guard. Any service uses the ASVAB.
Mhm.
So it's allowing a broader vocational opportunities to be shared with the student.
Thank you.
Delegate Griffith.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thanks for bringing this bill, and thank you, General, for being here. I appreciate it. So when did this law change? Because I took the ASVAB in '94, as frankly, to be very honest, as a bad student, just to get out of class. And then Next thing I know, the Marine Corps recruiter is talking to me, and the fancy uniform got me. And next thing I know, I'm shipped off to Paris Island. And when I took the test, they shared my information with all the recruiters, and they came coming for me, and they got me. And frankly, it was the best thing I ever did because I wouldn't be here if not for that. So when did this change, and how do we end up here with this?
So thank you for your service. What county are you?
Hartford.
I don't know when it changed, and I don't know if it actually was an opt-out then. Things were a little looser with recruiting.
Yeah.
then, so.
Fair enough. Understood.
Yeah, yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
That was very diplomatic of you. Delegate Miller.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and welcome, Major General. Thank you. Thank you for being here, and thank you, Delegate, for bringing this bill. I actually tried to make the ASVAB part of when we're talking about the college and career readiness standards, because I think it is so important, and it gives us so information. So thank you for sharing how many avenues that it covers, not just for career, but also for skills and skills that kids would be good at. So what is what's the predictive success rate around of the ASVAB, if I'm asking the question right? Like, how accurate does it get with its predictive capabilities?
It's very helpful. Sometimes people taking ASVAB, if it's their first time, may not score as well as they would like to. It's almost like the SAT. It's a pretty good predictor, but there are always opportunities to take it again and do other skills qualifications tests to help you find the best match, similar to the good delegate who took the ASVAB and ended up in the Marines. So did I. And for me, it's been kind of generational because my son just took it and now he's serving in the National Guard.
Is it pretty accurate in giving them information about what skills they're best suited for?
It's very helpful. The questions that they ask sort of are indicative and align with conceptual abilities and different things, and those sort of align with some of the military occupational specialties that exist in all of our services.
So let me just add, there's a standard score. So say that if you want to be a military police, and I'm just going to use this because I don't know the score exactly, but say you have to score 50 to be a police, military police, and you don't score 50, but you know that's the desired outcome you want, then we have resources that help you get up to a 50. You get up to 50, but the occupation has already identified a minimum score for each of those fields, whether it's aircraft maintenance or whether it's MP or whether it's electrician. There's already an identified cutoff for that. What they might not tell you, like the Marines, because they want the Marine, like, come on in, we'll approve you later. But what we do, we tell them now, like, okay, if you're not getting what you want now, let's help you improve that score so you can get the career that you want, as opposed to what you tested out at now.
Okay, so it's not like put them in a slot. Okay,
Yeah, exactly.
And what age should they take it?
16, 17.
Okay, is the average age. And then how many schools, or you said something about the schools that or the number of students that took it. Do we know how many school systems or schools in the state administer it right now?
How many administer? They all have it available to them to administer.
Okay, for free.
For free. For free.
Thank you.
Exactly,
Thank you
for
very
free.
much for bringing her.
Delegate Henson.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you all for bringing the bill, and thank you all for your service respectively. A part of the testimony mentioned that without the opportunity for testing or for the scores to be shared in the way the bill envisions, that students might miss out on the opportunities that service provides. Can you all elaborate on some of the opportunities that service provides?
Sure. So for me, it provided me with the opportunity to serve in the military for 29 years, to be stationed on 4 different continents and 32 different countries. And so it was an incredible opportunity. It paid for 2 master's degrees free while I was in the military. And I get a check every month now for the rest of my life. So it was a wonderful opportunity, which allows me to serve here.
Sounds good.
So let me just add, it really on the ground tactically, we know in Maryland, we have thousands of cybersecurity jobs that are open. So a student comes in, takes this test, and is tested out as an aptitude to do something in cyber. And we put them in that career field. We're going to get them a security clearance immediately, right? Because they usually have nothing in their background that's going to prohibit them from getting it. And then they're off to school. They get cybersecurity certificates do not have to have a degree in cybersecurity to be a cybersecurity specialist. And then we are bringing them back to Maryland to enter into our workforce in that area of cybersecurity where we have thousands of jobs available. So I think that that's an immediate win for us, and they could see that within a year, realistically, being able to get into the ground level at cyber.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
And Delegate Plavkovich Carr.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you both for the bill. I'll say I was not familiar with this test until this hearing, so we'll always learn something new here in the General Assembly. Two questions. First, could you just share, like, if this bill passes, what types of recruitment efforts would you be engaging in? We're talking emails, mail, phone calls? I'm just curious about the scope of that.
So right now, we are not as welcomed as I would like in every jurisdiction in the 24. Some schools are more apt to have us, the recruiters, in. And we're really working very hard personally going out to schools and say, hey, we're here as a resource. So I would say that the face-to-face, hands-on recruiters in the building are the way to go. I am not for a hard sell because I think that the program sells itself. So if you don't see a need or a desire to join, we're not going to try to do a hard sell. Regardless of that, the recruiters in the school to impart some knowledge to you, a little bit of history, tell you about the Maryland 400 if you don't know, give you a little bit about what happened at Fort McHenry if you don't know, things like that to really help a teacher, help an instructor, tell you about what it means to vote and register to vote. You know, like those types of just being a good a civilian, civic person in society is the way I like to talk about being part of the National Guard. So, and I think that's a better way to get into the schools, that the teacher know we're not in it for a hard sell, for somebody to be infantry, hua and go off to war. That's not what we're about. We're just trying to build better Americans. Yeah.
Thank you for that. And then my other question is let's say your recruitment efforts are, hopefully successful. What are the other qualifications? Like, if the child or the student is under the age of 18, do they need parental consent? Do they have to be a high school graduate?
They need parental consent. If they're under the age of 17, they need parental consent. So that's not an issue. And then the basic training would be the first entry into the military, unless they're doing ROTC, like at Morgan State University, entering the ROTC program, which we hope another area where we hope to expand our involvement. And if they join ROTC, then they're coming out as a second lieutenant when they commission.
And in addition, there are certain physical requirements that they have to meet as well. So quite frankly, a lot of folks in the country aren't qualified to serve just based on their level of physical fitness, body fat standards, those kinds of things, as well as this test. So there are a number of things that determine whether or not they're qualified. This test is one of the things that they have to take.
Any further questions? Okay, seeing none. Thank you, Major General. Thank you, Delegate. Thanks for being here. And that concludes the hearing on House Bill 1492. And that concludes the hearing of the Ways and Means today.